making lightened up gluten-free Cheez-Its. I actually wanted to comment on gluten-free snacks in general today. So a lot of people turn to gluten-free believing that it's a healthier alternative. Now, if you need to eat gluten-free because of an allergy or sensitivity, then yes, going gluten-free is so important. But if you're eating gluten-free because there is a judgment that gluten is bad or unhealthy, then that's worth exploring because that is not necessarily true. In fact, a lot of gluten-free store-bought alternatives have more preservatives and ingredients or added sugar than the regular products. Not to mention, they rarely compare in taste and flavor. I ate gluten-free for years actually, and at the time I did think I was supporting my body, but I have found since working on healing my relationship with food and starting to eat gluten again, that my body actually handles it okay. What my body did not handle was the stress that I put it under trying to be healthy and perfect and, trying to avoid gluten at all costs. That stress physiologically released cortisol, which impacted my weight, my physical health, my mental health. So I am a huge advocate now of lowering stress around our health efforts. Today, I thought I'd make a fun gluten-free alternative of one of my favorite snacks, Cheez-Its. My homemade Cheez-Its recipe is not only pretty easy to make, but they're also gluten-free without adding any more ingredients. In fact, you can also make them with regular all-purpose flour too if you don't need them to be gluten-free. So let's get started, but first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of new videos all month long. Into your food processor, add freshly grated cheddar cheese, gluten-free all-purpose flour. You could also use a regular all-purpose flour, again, if you don't need it to be gluten-free. Cold butter, or you could use cold solid coconut oil, but it'll be a little bit more finicky, and salt. Pulse to blend your mixture until it becomes a sandy consistency, and then add water about a tablespoon at a time and adjust the consistency until it becomes a dough. Then remove the dough from the food processor, form it into a disc, wrap it in plastic wrap, and chill in the fridge for about 20 minutes, or you could even leave it there for up to a few hours. Once chilled, cut your dough disc in half and transfer the other half back into the fridge. To help prevent your dough from sticking, we're gonna roll it out on a sheet of floured parchment paper, and then put that on with some more flour and another sheet of parchment on top. Roll it until it is quite thin. I like mine, I try to get about 1/8 of an inch thick or even a little bit less, but aim for it to be even. Once it's rolled out, cut your dough into 1 inch or so squares. I used a ruler to help score the dough, so I had an idea of where to cut. These weren't exactly 1 inch, but close enough. You could also just eyeball it, go for it, I used a pastry wheel because I thought it was adorable, but you could also use a pizza cutter or a knife. Transfer those little squares onto a baking sheet with parchment and sprayed, and roll out any of your remaining dough to get all of your crackers. Before baking, use a skewer or toothpick to poke a hole in the middle of each cracker. Then you can bake until crispy and lightly browned. Now, the browner they are, the crunchier they will become. So I would let them go a little more if you're open to them looking a little browner. Then transfer to baking racks to cool, and they will crisp up more as they cool as well. These are delicious. They're salty and cheesy. They've got a delicious crunch. And I also find it so satisfying to eat these store-bought remakes. It's fun to know that I made them myself, and I find I tend to be more mindful with my consumption and enjoy them even more as opposed to mindlessly snacking on Cheez-Its out of the box. That said, it doesn't mean we have to make our own Cheez-Its to be healthy or that we have to avoid store-bought ones. We are all on different paths and different places in our journeys, and we're doing the best we can with what we've got. So again, with this series, I'm asking you to try and lighten up. And whatever lightening up means to you, maybe it's nutritionally by making our own snacks using simpler or fewer ingredients, or maybe that's lightening up on ourselves by giving ourselves permission to eat the store-bought snack and not restrict. or say that it's a bad food. So I've linked this recipe below if you want to try it out. And I also have some other fun cracker recipes that I've shown before, like homemade goldfish, homemade Ritz, so feel free to check those out. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you Monday with a brand new Lighten Up episode, and remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch.